I broke my back.
What do you mean by that? Your
back is broken. What do you mean, calm it down? It's a fight. Referees telling two fighters who want to fight to calm it down? He should calm down.
I saw he's like a clown in his show, man. He's not your guy.
Because Tyson Fury's back, and all you motherfuckers are under attack.
Look, Eddie Hearn can say all what he likes. Who gives a shit what Eddie Hearn says? It's garbage.
Are you off your tits? Have you been smoking something?
Can you let me retire and be happy? Please, just please.
Bombs away from the Bronx Bomber!
Wanda! Let's go, baby! Let's go!
I'm through. They put somebody else up and give me an interview.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
You never give me a fair shake. HBO needs to fire you. You don't know shit about boxing. You ain't shit. You not shit.
I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
I got dropped, man. Are you kidding? No, you won the fight.
OMG, I am so excited.
Any of you radio personalities think you want smoke? Call me Mr. Chimney. I want smoke.
Yes. What is up, MCR family? Another daily edition of the show live on YouTube, obviously podcast from iTunes, Spotify, Radio, etc. Mixed Combat Radio. I'm Matt, the Hipster Hunter. Obviously, find me, Matt Hunter, MCR, all platforms. But digressing, it is review day for obviously all of the weekend's action. DeGale, Eubank, Rios versus Soto, Dirrell versus Yildirim, and all in between. And also, of course, the breaking news of Triple G close to finalizing a deal with DAZN, as sort of expected. But the particulars of the deal are interesting, so cannot wait to dive into that. But, of course, I'm joined, as usual, by the illustrious Mr. Robbie Hearns himself, second cousin twice removed of Eddie. Rob, how are you doing today on this fine evening over there in the UK?
Yeah, doing good. Obviously, quick trivia. Why is today a special day, Matt, in the boxing industry?
I don't know. I'll be honest. I do not know.
I'll
be honest. It is like the 20-year anniversary of Slim Shady LP, so I thought you'd be happy. He's your hero. Shout out to Slim Shady.
Yeah, I'm a hero of maybe that genre, maybe.
That's
but
right.
yeah, call yourself a boxing fan. Oh my God, it's Floyd Mayweather's birthday, Matt.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Tiger did get in trouble with he tried to pull out the burner there at the party. You can't really do that, Tiger. Come on, man. You're repping LA here when you're out there in the streets. Act a little bit better, Tiger, please.
But yeah, so happy birthday, Floyd Mayweather. But yeah, Triple G, DAZN, interesting details. The initial sources that reported it were a little off. We're now getting other sources or breaking news from Mike Coppinger again, but much more detail in this report, which perhaps leans to it, having a little bit more truth to it. So yeah, we'll talk about that. Obviously, the weekend's fights, the huge, massive event that was DeGale versus Eubank, which has obviously just blown everybody away stateside.
Yeah, so much buzz. So much buzz for that one.
More buzz than any Matchroom USA card in the history of Matchroom USA.
No, not just any of them. All of them combined.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, my bad.
Yes.
But yeah, shout out boxing Twitter. But yeah, a bunch of fights to look into. Other bits and pieces. So yeah, Fu, how you doing, man?
Fugatti over in Texas.
I'm good,
what up, Fu?
I'm good. Let's recap this great weekend of boxing, guys.
Yeah.
And definitely bring up Shrek. Boxing Shrek made an appearance. I don't know if you guys ever played Evander Holyfield boxing on Sega, but you could make this guy called the Beast, and he was a big green monster boxer, and he had all the top stats.
That's a deep cut. That's a deep cut. I like it. I like it. And also, I mean, the greatest hairline possibly in boxing history was on display yesterday. A lot. But you can catch all of that banter on Boxing Banter Episode 8 on patreon.com/MixHummerRadio. Rob, you like that segue and plug right there. You liked it. That was good. That was clever.
I was about to jump in and say, what, the greatest hairline in boxing? What, me on the live fight chat yesterday? Or?
No. Humberto Soto. Shout out to the hairline.
Same thing.
Same. No, I mean, you have a better hairline. Let's be honest. Digressing, though. I mean, it's not saying much. But digressing. Let's get to the breaking news first. That's obviously, I think, just a bigger deal than all the fights this weekend combined, probably. Let's be honest. Again, per my commenter, as I think Rob said, breaking, Gennady Golovkin and DAZN are close to finalizing a multi-fight deal, according to industry sources. The package includes 3 guaranteed fights to perform, guaranteed fights on the platform, and as many as 6. Deal also gives Triple G equity in the company and guaranteed dates for Triple G promotions. Where's Tom at, guys? Where's Tom? But adding to this, my commenter saying Golovkin is expected to earn around $15 million in his return in late spring, early summer before his potential 3rd fight with Canelo Alvarez in September that would pay him upward of $30 million. On top of that, my commenter came out a little bit later and said, important to note that Eddie Hearn didn't receive equity, and neither did Golden Boy or Canelo Alvarez. I believe the only fighters/promoters that have received equity in the company is Triple G and Anthony Joshua. So just an interesting, I think, note to sort of just make of this deal. Rob, I'm going to go to you since you are, I think, the resident Mr. DAZN. And I mean, this isn't shocking in any way, I would argue, but it's still big news. Like it's just because we've been hearing about this deal forever. It doesn't make that doesn't mean that this is any less important to the division, to boxing right now, where Triple G goes next. It has massive ramifications. And on top of that, this deal does look to be a pretty nice deal. So your thoughts on the breaking news of today?
Yeah, obviously, we were promised something before Christmas, so we're right in line with that. I know we've had a Christmas in between that time. It's going to fall before Christmas 2019. I guess. So yeah, finally I think we're looking at maybe something being announced this week coming. But yeah, super interesting. Like initially, I think the reports was a 2-fight deal worth $45 million. So this is a 3-fight deal with a reported $45 million for the first 2. So
and then an added option of another 3 on top of that, plus his own promotional fights or events that he's going to put on allegedly.
Yeah, I mean, unless the 3rd fight is for free, that's already 45 plus another fight. So it's a bigger deal than initially, sources had given up. But the interesting part is like some, equity in the company and the Triple G promotions, like you said, Matt. Where's Tom? Have they parted ways, or is Tom involved with Triple G promotions? Is he going to be sort of heading that up, or what? We'll find out. Obviously, it'll all come out. But yeah, and who else is signed to Triple G promotions?
God knows. Who knows?
But yeah, interesting. And I'm wondering now. It might be. Would it be how they want to work this? But I believe they were looking to put Andrade versus Billy Joe Saunders on the Joshua card. There's been a lot of talk of that. So late spring, early summer, June 1st suggests early summer to me. Is Triple G going to be on the co-main event for Joshua, or are they going to look to main event him, I guess? But
too much money. That's way too much money on one card. You spread that out. You spread that out. I think.
But if DAZN are paying this money, I don't know.
But it's still a lot of money for one event. Do you understand that? So you only get one event's worth of ticket sales to offset costs. You only get one event's worth of international distribution deals to offset costs. They're not putting Triple G on any event with Anthony Joshua. None of the A-listers go with other A-listers. That never will happen. Just before I give my take on it, Fu, I want your sort of immediate take on this deal. And Triple G moving to DAZN potentially in the near future, obviously with a 3-fight deal. All this added bonuses, equity in the company. Your thoughts?
I mean, I think this just goes to show that we're at a point in boxing where there's just a massive amount of capital. There's a massive amount of money to throw at these guys. It's really interesting because we've got a really good April card already on DAZN. So if Triple G's around that same time, and we've got Canelo, and we've got, what's that?
He's later. I think he's later. Yeah, I think he would be like a July fight. Honestly.
Yeah, well,
And
so line
May.
that up then. You got April, you got May, you got June, you got July. You've got 4 like major fight cards. It looks like DAZN is really investing heavy and having a huge first 6 months of this year. It probably comes down to like some quarterly numbers they need to hit, or some type of investor financial money they need to get to. But I think we all knew Triple G was going to land here, right? I mean, it's Jacobs is here, Canelo's here, Saunders is able to work, I think, within this model pretty easily because he seems to be a free agent. It is not like locked down anywhere in the U.S. So I think we're going to see a lot of really good fights in that 160 to 168 range, depending on where these guys all shake out.
I agree. And my sort of take on this is that, like, I'm going to echo a lot of what my two co-hosts have said. I think it's a lot of it definitely shows just the amount of capital that's in the sport. It wasn't a year or two ago. I mean, just put yourself before the first Canelo fight. Triple G wasn't going to get paid a lot. I mean, he was getting paid 7 figures, but 15, 30 million, and in between, he wasn't getting those paychecks. He wasn't. And I think, similar to like a Tyson Fury, like 2 years ago, he doesn't get that deal. Wilder now shopping himself around. 2 years ago, he wouldn't be able to do that. There wasn't enough capital in the sport. Now there is. Now we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars now flooding the market per year from networks, when previously it was 60 million combined in the entire landscape of the U.S. market from network deals. Now it's 300 million, 400 million, 500 million combined from all these networks. It's an insane amount of money we're talking about. So like I've said to everyone, like to all the fighters, go get the bag right now. Now is the time to go get that paycheck. It looks like Triple G is going to do that. I am curious as to the scheduling of Triple G because like we've sort of talked about, I don't know where he fits in the schedule. I don't think he goes on any of the big cards that's already been made because he's too big. It's too much money invested into him alone. He's going to have his own separate debut, Triple G promoted DAZN event, in my opinion. Who does he fight? I'm curious about. When it is in the timeline, I am curious about. So, Rob, I'm going to go to you. What are some names that are, how about this, one name that you would really want and one name that's realistic? Because maybe those two things don't match up.
Yeah, well, now Billy Joe has walked away from the Andrade fight and moving up in weight for his next fight, although that's in jeopardy as well now after the WBA fuck up. But the WBO fuck up, sorry. I believe that leaves Triple G stepping into basically the mandatory position for Andrade's belt. So that could be, straight away coming back. Would he fancy Andrade straight back after this sort of last fought in September, right? So could be, I don't know whether he would look for something a little sooner or whether an Andrade
or softer, honestly.
Yeah, or whether the Andrade fight is something that is more suited to sort of tuning up for the winner of Canelo Jacobs in September, which is being suggested as that's what will be the second fight. So I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting. Middleweight division, or does he do a Canelo and go up and challenge himself at 168 or something? I don't know, but
as just like a tune-up. Between fights.
Is Rocky Fielding getting another big fight?
Or maybe his own Rocky Fielding. I think that's a possibility.
That's what I mean, that's that sort of potential. I know at the time there was rumors or people sort of saying, "All right, so Canelo's come back. He's won the WBA regular. What if Triple G was to come back and go after the super belt? Because there was a lot of talk of Triple G and Callum Smith at 168 initially, but that's obviously all died down. A lot of we're going to have to wait and see on the Callum Smith, who he's apparently news is coming real soon on Callum Smith. But yeah, Triple G, I don't know. Sort of who DAZN can attract over, or who it will be within sort of the match? Because I don't know if this is yet to be.
No,
Eddie
Matchroom has not been mentioned with this at all. So I think for assumption's sake, let's assume it's not Matchroom. It's a Triple G Promotions, Triple G deal with DAZN specifically. Similar to Canelo. Canelo has a deal with DAZN. And with Golden Boy, not a deal with Eddie.
Oh, yeah, I mean, all I was going to say was Eddie was at the meetings, like the approach, like to sell DAZN, I guess. So that, I guess people have put it together that maybe it's a co-promotion with Match, like.
Well, I think it's similar to the Jacobs Canelo fight, right? Like Eddie is a big fixture at DAZN and has a lot of people there, so obviously he's going to be co-promoting a lot of the big fights. But does he have a co-promotion deal with Triple G? No, that's not being stated here. I want to make that very clear. That is not what's being stated here. Just because people conflate DAZN and Eddie, they think they're the same thing. They're not. They are different.
I think the
like, for example, Triple G has equity in the company. Eddie doesn't. Matchroom doesn't.
Yeah, and it's like people, I think, assumed, because Eddie seemed to be like the front man for DAZN. He was out there selling it. He's in every single interview. This is how it's going to be. The 12 normal cards, the 4 months. He seemed to be the face, the face of salesman of DAZN. And so I think people assumed he kind of was DAZN.
We don't need to talk about Eddie. It's not his news. I'm going to go to Fu. Relax, Bob. I'm just saying. Just for the sake of conversation, man. We have topics. We have callers. We got to move on, right? Because I still haven't asked Fu about who he wants to fight for Triple G. So Fu, along with what Rob said about basically, you allude to the fact that what would DAZN want as the matchup, right? We know that DAZN was heavily in favor of the Jarrell Miller fight for AJ, and obviously AJ going to Madison Square Garden, having that fight there. DAZN really pushed for that. So who in your mind do you think DAZN is pushing for Triple G to fight next? Not necessarily who Triple G is going to pick, but who is DAZN pushing for?
I think, I feel like Triple G's already shown that against lesser opponents, he can bring numbers, right? So like when, for instance, on the step-in fight with Martirosyan or whatever, right? He pulled good numbers on that fight. So I feel like, and maybe this is just kind of a shot in the dark. I don't know if Korobov is really like with PBC or if he has any attachments to anyone, but I think that's a good, like Korobov had a great fight against Charlo. He's a pretty skilled fighter, got a good record. Could be a good fight, like a first fight on DAZN, more like a showcase type fight for Triple G, but there could be some good back and forth in it. I would like to see Andrade, but I don't believe they're going to do that, because if they're going to try to build up to a Canelo fight in like September on DAZN, you can't have Triple G come in and look mediocre in his first fight. And I think Andrade has that ability to really not negative fight. I'm not saying it's like he's a negative fighter, but if he gets in like a fight where he knows he's evenly matched or could potentially lose, he's not going to fight the same way he's going to fight some of the showcase type fights that he's done. He's not going to be in the pocket swinging with Gennady Golovkin. He's going to be on the back foot. He's going to be moving. And they want a lot of hype going into a Canelo fight. So they need a lesser matchup in the first fight.
Is the goal of just getting that highlight reel knockout for Triple G to sell a Canelo fight more important than a big fight for Triple G off the bat? He will be a fixture in one of their months, so to speak, like a AJ Miller fight is, like a Canelo Jacobs fight, how that is the selling point for that month for DAZN. Do you think a Triple G versus a Luis Aries Silitsky fight, do you think any of that is really going to sell DAZN? Or do you think DAZN thinks that? Because that's probably more important. It's not necessarily what the reality is, but what DAZN's perception of reality is. I think that's obviously the most important factor here with what they determine and how they move. I could see them pushing really heavy for an Andrade fight. I think DAZN is in the mindset of like, look, man, like we have a very small window to make this money back, and on top of that, you gain a foothold in the U.S. marketplace for sports. I could see them expediting a lot of these matchups and this sort of unofficial 4-man middleweight tournament into hyperdrive, where we get Andrade, Triple G the first 6 months of this year. We get obviously Canelo Jacobs, and the winners face each other the next 6 months of this year. And that is DAZN's hope to, again, expedite this process. Similar, totally a weird metaphor to use, but follow me here, guys. Rob, I saw you roll your eyes. Relax. You haven't heard the metaphor yet. Okay?
No, but you set it up.
Because this is going to sound negative. That's why. I don't mean it to be negative. But it's similar in my mind to like the DC cinematic universe trying to catch up to the Marvel universe, right? How they went from, okay, we have a Superman movie, Wonder Woman movie, okay, Justice League right now. Batman doesn't get his own movie. Nobody gets their own movie. We go to Justice League right now. We expedite the process. Now, some business ventures, that works out very well. Obviously, we know that can work out well when you sort of gain a foothold in the market in a very fast rate. But we have seen it in pop culture, entertainment, that fail on a big level recently. Could DAZN sort of, it's going to sound weird here, because Bob Arum is somewhere going, yes, I was right. But is DAZN actually hurting themselves by not potentially marinating this division and the matchups within it?
I don't know. Maybe, but DAZN, they can't win. They're either putting on shit fights that no one wants to watch, and they've got 12,000 people watch Joshua fight Povetkin, and they've got no subscribers, or this, that, and the other. Oh, why aren't we hearing numbers? Or they're doing it too quick. They're putting on really good fights, and it's not giving time to build. So I think they're in the business now of trying to make big fights that are going to drive those subscriber numbers. The rumors are they're close to 1 million subscribers right now. And after roughly sort of 5 months, I remember.
Very quick. I think the rumor is actually they're about over 1 million right now, I want to say.
Yeah, and I believe looking back in reports, and Potential Lunatic kind of backed this up. He looked at some stuff, but ESPN hit the 1 million in around 5 month period. So they're kind of sort of at that point, at that stage in time, kind of on par with ESPN. But obviously, I know recently UFC has done mega numbers for ESPN, and that's like
ESPN
given
Plus.
them a super boost.
Yeah.
ESPN Plus, but that's given them a super boost. But I know right now, and obviously with the AJ Presser recently, we've seen a lot of this. Joe Markowski, the DAZN head of like American operations or whatever, but he's from what he's saying, from speaking with him, he sounds like we're in the business of trying to make the biggest fights we can at the top, like now. So for me, it seems like they're going in, like you said, like it's time to really like put a stamp and get a real foothold in the market right now. And and let's not forget, Andrade called out Triple G after his last fight.
It's a fight that I think we all want to see. Like, it makes sense. Like I said, it's the unofficial 4-man tournament of the middleweight division. All the champions, all the relevant people. The only one not there's Jamal Charlo, but shit happens. Hey, I mean, it's all over the place. Look at Terrence Crawford. Shit happens. In that side of the street. Sorry, right now it seems to be that's just the way it is. But right now with DAZN, we have most 99% of the top right now in DAZN in that division. I agree with you, Rob. And again, I just pointed that out about how maybe they're expediting it a little bit too fast, just because it's a thought I had. But I think you're right. I think they are in the business of making the best fights, biggest fights right now ASAP, because they have to.
Well, and here's how we have to think about it too. It doesn't mean that not marinating a fight does anything bad for the division. Because if you get a very competitive Triple G Andrade fight, you're going to get a second one.
That's fun. That's entertaining.
Yeah, absolutely. If you get a really competitive Jacobs-Canelo fight, there's nothing saying that fight doesn't move forward, and it's like the Triple G Andrade winner and then the Canelo Jacobs winner, and then there's a rematch after that of of one of those other 160 pounders. It really matters how competitive it is. If Canelo goes in and smokes Jacobs, there's not going to be any build up for another fight. But I don't see that happening in any of those instances, right? Like, they're going to be very competitive every one of those fights. And then any one of those guys with Billy Joe Saunders is very competitive. So all those fights can be multiple instances of those fights. So I don't think it's going to be an issue. I think it's actually going to be a good play for DAZN to rush those fights, because it's going to build their subscriber base and allow them to sign other people that'll get more weight divisions going on DAZN, right?
At some point, you've got to think, right? Because look at ESPN Play. They've just lined up Tyson Fury, and they've already got like Crawford signed to a deal. I don't know what Lomachenko's deal sort of is or where he's at in that deal, but obviously we've got DAZN with multi-fight deals like Canelo, like 10 fights or whatever it is, and you know, and I don't know at some point if some of these, you know, guys at PBC, just it's like DAZN are like, oh, all right, Broner said no, Charlo's just said no, Gerald Hurd said no, but at some point are they going to look and think, but Canelo, Triple G, you know, Anthony Joshua's on a one fight deal, but he's happy to be there. These are like the biggest names currently in the game. Do they look back and think, maybe, you know, is there a movement? Is there something happening over at DAZN? I know they're being, you know, sit tight, don't worry, you know, Al's got you and these secondary checks, but I just wonder if...
Well, I mean, they are also swimming in money. I mean...
oh, yeah.
I mean, let's not act like... I know people think like Showtime is going bankrupt for some reason when they just re-up their deal, but you know, that's a talking point out there, Rob. You know that.
Yeah, I wondered if like these big names in the sport, they're at DAZN. And like all the middleweight bouts are at DAZN. And all these little pieces, as much as people want to sit back and go, DAZN, 12,000 views on Joshua fight, or all this stuff, you know, it's, yeah, but those guys are there and they're like they're the ones making huge money. They're the ones that are like the big names currently in the sport.
But technically speaking, Rob, that's where your argument falters, because that's not where only the big names are. Crawford Loma, Tyson Fury on ESPN making lots of money.
Yeah,
PBC fighters like let me just jump in. PBC fighters like in the welterweight division, for obvious sake, have a monopoly, or almost in effect a monopoly on that division, right? So while you're right, especially in the 160-pound division, and arguably, I can't say heavyweight anymore because Tyson Fury's now really exclusively on ESPN, right? But at 160, you're absolutely right. DAZN has that in lock. So if you're a PBC fighter that's thinking about being at 160, of course. Or if you're an ESPN fighter, like if you're Robert Brandt, like why the hell would you sign a ESPN deal when the entire division's on the other side of the street, right? But other than that division, I mean, there is a lot more of a dichotomy with other divisions and where they're at in terms of networks. But yeah, 160 and obviously 154 pounders moving up. Yeah, DAZN's where it's at right now.
I mean, I didn't actually necessarily mean just they're looking. I meant that these guys are looking at DAZN. All I meant was like you got Joshua on DAZN, Canelo, and Triple G, like three big names. Obviously, Tyson Fury. Whether you want to go along with Brendan Schaub or whatever his name is and believe that Tyson Fury is the biggest name in boxing, yeah, cool. Obviously, he's. I'm just saying about these streaming apps have got this big money and sort of snapping up bit by bit, like very sort of key parts of the boxing world or the big names as such. So whether these guys over without deals who have gone DAZN, whatever, I'm not interested, or really is that it? Oh, you don't know what you're dealing like with Al Heyman, mate. But it's still, why are these guys over there? What is it? You know, I don't know. I just wondered if there's some fighters, I'm sure there is, and some are like, whatever, I'm making real good money, I'm not interested. But whether there's some sort of thought process behind it, like, damn, should I be over there? I don't know.
Well, I think it's not necessarily should I be over there. It's just saying, well, no, there's money everywhere. Like that's what I'm trying to get across. It's not Matchroom, DAZN versus PBC and Fox and Showtime. It's not that. It's if you're a fighter, you're looking at everyone right now has money. Bob Arum has money. Al Heyman has money. Eddie has money. Golden Boy has money. Everyone has money. So I think you're looking at where can I fit in the best? Where can I get the most money and have those two things connect? Right? If you're a welterweight, right, you probably should want to be with PBC because you're gonna make tons of money over there, and that's where most of the guys are. If you're middleweight, probably should be with DAZN because you're gonna make a ton of money over there, and that's where all the guys are. If you're a heavyweight, God knows where you go right now because the three top guys are on three different networks right now. In effect, the Wilder's still shopping around. Other divisions, it's all split across the middle sometimes. At 175, be an ESPN, in my mind. I mean, if you're not ESPN and you're a light heavyweight, you will struggle to get the big fights. It's just how it is right now. The sport overall is split amongst all these networks and all these promoters. And to your point about the streaming app, right, that distinction, I don't think any of these fighters are thinking, and I'll be honest, me included, I don't think the DAZN is the next best thing, or the next big thing, I should say. I don't see it. I see it as it would be like the Zune. It would be a device. It would be a platform that moves the industry towards a direction that is better. But another company that has more capital is going to come in and take that concept and run with it, and they're going to probably be more successful at it. I don't know when that time is going to be, if it's 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 5 years from now, 3 years from now, but I don't think the DAZN is going to be the end-all, be-all. I think all these fighters are looking at, hey, we're going to get the best money right now, where's the best division right now, and all these other networks are looking at the DAZN like, how can we take what they're doing right and ignore what they're doing bad? I think you see Showtime starting to adjust how they show events, how they show cards. They're now showing more fights on the card because of DAZN, because of ESPN. You're just going to see, I think, DAZN have more of an effect on the industry than DAZN be a force in the industry, if that makes sense. But that's long-term thinking. That's not right now. But yeah.
Just quickly, why didn't you guys only this Chris Eubank card? You literally had Joyce and then DeGale fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why wasn't the social media, like the YouTube channel, utilized to show the rest of the card? You were just saying they've got better at it, but you just literally got 2 fights yesterday.
Yeah, but to be fair, I mean, predominantly speaking overall, like when the card's in the UK and gets picked up in the US, it's always like that. Like, usually speaking, even like the DAZN card yesterday, which was not in the US, that was in Mexico, right? We didn't get all the fights on that DAZN card. There's been ESPN fights that have been international that we don't get all the fights for. Like, that does happen for international events more so. For the ones that start showing it, like ESPN is now showing all of their top-ranked undercards, right? But if they pick up like a Pulev Fury fight, they're not showing that whole card.
But this was a PBC card. That was all. This was.
I understand that, but it's again a UK fight that is picked up in the US by a network. Remember, PBC, they could have had it on Fox or Showtime, so Showtime picked it up, right? So they determine what they're going to show. They determine how much they're going to spend for all of the fights, for only the main event. Remember, that's all different price points. There's a reason why for very often I feel like for Anthony Joshua fights, we only maybe got 1 fight or maybe 2 because the whole card is a different price.
Yeah, you got like a Katie Taylor on the back of a Joshua fight once, right? I think.
And not the big, and not Big Baby. It wasn't the White Chisora first fight. We didn't get that.
Yeah,
but that's just common overall. However, I do think, like I did say, they are getting better at it. Like, for example, they did show the Erickson Lubin Ishe Smith fight on YouTube when it was on the telecast. The Fox Sports events, they are showing a lot of the undercard. Maybe not all of it, but they might be showing all of it now. And it just depends on the network, and again, Showtime is getting better at it. And that's what I'm talking about when it comes to DAZN's effect or ESPN's effect, because I think they've all had sort of a mutual effect on the industry. And this goes back to what we were talking about earlier and switching back to DAZN, their strategy about making all the big fights right now to gain a foothold in the market, right? Because they are competing with networks that have 25 times the subscriber rate, 50 times, 80 times, 100 times, 150 times the subscriber rate of DAZN, they have to scramble a little bit quicker. Like, they have to scramble a little faster because at any point, if one of those networks that are, again, 80 times bigger than DAZN right now, when they figure out how to do it right, how to make it look fantastic, the game's going to be hard for DAZN. It really is. I don't know how they really compete with the ESPN or a Fox if they figure it out, if they fine-tune their streaming and their apps. That's all they need to do is fine-tune it. Long term, I'm just, again, curious about DAZN's effect or a long-standing foothold in the industry. But digressing, any points on this, Triple G, because I know we were talking about Triple G. Fu, Rob, anything? I know I've been ranting. No? This is a podcast, guys, so you guys have to talk and not just nod your head.
was being.
No,
British.
I'm good. I don't want to get into a breakdown of where DAZN goes 5-10 years from now.
Why, you don't want to?
No.
Oh, Fu doesn't want.
I want smoke.
He doesn't want the smoke, Fu. It's okay. You know why? You know why he doesn't want the smoke, Rob?
Because he's a snowflake.
No, not that. That is funny though. That was good. I wasn't going that way. He's definitely a beta male cuck. But no, I think it's that Fu, and this goes back to our boxing banter conversation. Fu doesn't want the Matchroom fanboys on his ass when he starts shitting on DAZN in any way. Let's be honest. But Fu, if he doesn't want the smoke, we can move on. Let's get to the fights this weekend. Let's start obviously with the DeGale Eubank card, which created so much buzz. I did not like this fight, and I purposely said that in an ambiguous way because I don't even know how I feel about this fight. It wasn't bad. Like I've watched it again. I know, Rob. I know. It wasn't the worst thing I've seen.
That doesn't mean it's acceptable.
That is true. I did not say it was acceptable. I didn't say that. I'm trying to be very careful with my words here. It's definitely one of those fights that now I've seen twice, so I will never watch it again.
That's a lie straight off. You didn't watch this twice.
I 100% watched this twice.
You didn't really watch it yesterday.
Okay, air quote, watched it.
1.2 something.
And I was definitely watching it this morning with a couple other fights on, so it wasn't always 100% in my focus. But digressing, I think that this fight is, I don't know how I feel about it. Rob might be right. It is just kind of a shit fight. I mean, Eubank was doing really a lot of work on the inside. I wouldn't say it's the best work, but he's doing a lot of work on the inside. DeGale was content with single shot counters, was content with not staying out of Eubank's range and using his footwork at all. And the second that Eubank, I think, really hurt DeGale in that second round, like DeGale never got back into the fight in any sort of comfortable way. Like he never seemed composed, never seemed okay in a combination, on the inside exchanging with Eubank. I think that sort of complexion led to Eubank just looking like he was winning everything. When honestly, who cares who won this fight? Like, we lost. The consumers lost in this fight. You guys in the UK had to pay for it. We in the US had to watch it. And we didn't really want to watch it, let's be honest.
You're joking, right? America loved this fight. Boxing Twitter was telling everyone that good old Uncle Al has made this amazing card in the UK, savior of British boxing. But anyway, yeah, it was. I don't know. It was like a slightly better Coley versus Chamberlain, something like that.
No, this was better than that. No. See, like
I said, a slightly better version of that.
No, this was a lot better than that. That may be one of the worst fights I've seen in the last decade.
Why? Because it was a body slam involved and stuff.
There was a knockdown. Like there were some moments where oh, that was nice. Really? Was there a knockdown? I don't really remember. I tried to block that fight out of my memory as much as possible.
I brought it back into your brain.
We did a live fight chat for that on Name Redacted, and I will always be upset at you for making me do that.
And me and you done a Coley Watkins, I think it was.
Did we really do that as well? God, you are a bad influence on me.
But yeah, no. Look, DeGale. I went with DeGale points, and that was on the proviso that he still had something left. But I think we've probably seen our last fight from James DeGale. Chris Eubank Jr. Very proud of his IBO title, back round his waist. I mean, yeah, hooray, good on you, whatever. But he cannot set up.
Shout out to IBO. Shout out to IBO.
He can't. No, certain fighters rep it very well. But is what it is. Yeah, but Chris Eubank Jr. just cannot set up a shot. He's got no kind of game plan. It's just
no jab, no body work.
He started using the jab a bit later in the fight, a little bit better, but nah, he just wants to hook off with everyone and see who's left standing when the dust settles. It's I don't know. It's yeah, crazy. But DeGale looked very like he would want to sort of feint a jab and come in with a straight shot. If it landed, great. If it didn't, I'll just hold on to him. But there was time when Eubank was pressuring him, and it was like some guy was being attacked by bees. He's like running backwards, flailing his arm. It was, I don't know, it's real weird, really weird. But
like the scene from what was it, Black Sheep or?
Oh yeah, something like that. Yeah, I know what you mean. But yeah, it was not good. I didn't really enjoy it. It was fun on the show when we, got the ban lifted. I was just happy.
We were so excited to get that ban lifted and then do a live fight chat for this fight.
Yeah,
and it was the shittiest fight.
Yeah, I mean, look, I was just happy to be live, and then we just ended up not really watching it, talking about other shit. I mean, it's a great watch. I mean, people should go over and check it out.
We definitely talked about a lot of things that aren't the fight that are interesting. That is for sure.
It wasn't the best, but look, like I say, I think DeGale, everything you've done, you've been through some hellacious fights. You've done things the hard way, but you've had a decent career, gold medalist, 2-time world champion, been in some like big sort of memorable fights. So, shout out to you, but
hang it up.
Time to hang it up.
Please.
Go and get really chunky,
Go get Prince Nassim fat. We know you can do it.
Yeah.
Oh my word.
But yeah, and Chris Eubank Jr., where does he go from this? I don't know. There's talk of should he go for the Dirrell, or Billy Joe Saunders has come out and he said I wouldn't mind that fight, and people are saying that's the next natural fight to make.
I really don't want to see Billy Joe Saunders outbox Chris Eubank again. Really don't want to see that.
You don't?
No, that first fight sucked.
I want to watch the build up again.
I mean, here, my thoughts on this whole, DeGale, Eubank, it's such a played out line. Eubank has all the talent. You can tell he's obviously got the ability, but he doesn't listen to his coaches. He doesn't really work on setting up his shots. He doesn't really work on anything that would make him be able to compete at the top level of the division. He's always going to be like this guy who floats because of his name. He'll get some good fights. But, I mean, do we really see him competing with any other major belt holder? I don't think so.
No.
DeGale should just retire. I mean, he's had a great career. He's like Robbie said, gold medalist, 2-time world champion. But he's shot now. Like, he's not the DeGale he used to be. We saw it in the Truax fight. You see it again in the Eubank fight. He didn't want to be in there. I said before the fight that DeGale's just like working his way out of the sport, So I just don't think Eubank goes anywhere from here. Not anywhere outside of maybe contending for a belt but getting beaten.
Whoa. He is a champion right now.
We're not going to recognize that belt, right?
No, of course not. Fuck the IBO.
Fuck the IBO.
Look, I've always thought of Eubank Jr. as very creative matchmaking that's made him look more than he is. And I think he's even felt that he's more than he is. His dad fucking certainly thought he's more than he is because he thought he was the next Floyd Mayweather. But yeah, I just think some creative, like, clever matchmaking has got him to a point where he looked like a flashy, crazy punching, some kind of killer. But he's proven time and time again that when he comes up against the best, and obviously James DeGale of 2019 wasn't the best James DeGale, so that doesn't count. But
hey, we are going to get to
game plan.
We are going to get to it, Rob. But hey, I will say this. Yildirim Yildirim almost became WBC champion all of a sudden last night. And Chris Eubank knocked that guy out in, 6 rounds?
2 or 3.
Was it really that quick?
I think so.
I mean...
And he went to sleep, didn't he? He did actually go to sleep.
I'll put it this way. Yes, I don't think Eubank beats the Callum Smith, the Gilberto Ramirez's, the David Benavidez's of the world. I don't think he beats those guys. I think we're all in agreement here. But Eubank is still a top 10 guy in the division. He may be a completely ugly fighter to watch at times at the top. He may be a really not untalented. He's highly talented. He's an unskilled boxer in the top 10. but he is still a top 10 fighter in that division right now, right? Am I wrong about that?
No, you're right.
That's just an indictment on the division, honestly.
Look, I'm gonna correct someone in the chat. Open office. Eubank will not beat Caleb Plant.
No.
Period.
No, that doesn't happen.
Never on your life.
Did he say he would?
Potentially Dirrell. Yeah, sure. Maybe. But I think even Dirrell would beat him. But Plant will destroy Eubank. Destroy him. Plant is a great boxer. If you watch his last fight, there's no way that you could say Eubank is on that level.
Caleb Plant could outbox Billy Joe Saunders. That's how good of a boxer he is.
Do you want to know? Do you want to know how BoxRec have it?
Yes. I'm curious now.
Caleb Plant is number 13.
What?
Chris Eubank Jr.
What?
Wait. Chris Eubank Jr. is number 2. The top 10 is Callum Smith, Chris Eubank Jr., Gilberto Ramirez, Billy Joe Saunders, Rocky Fielding, Jesse Hart, John Ryder, Fedor Chudanov, Jürgen Bremer, who has moved up 2 places.
John Ryder is in the top 10?
Number 7. Anthony
Dirrell.
Hey. James DeGale has dropped 3 places, is number 11, and Caleb Plant is still number 13. So,
damn, that is crazy.
So you were right, Matt. Chris Eubank is a top 10 super middleweight.
I am right about that, unfortunately.
He's a top 2 according to BoxRec.
That's like when Jeff Horn beat Anthony Mundine and then was somehow ranked in the top 5 at middleweight.
Yeah, look, Billy Joe Saunders, number 4.
Like, yeah, he hasn't even fought at the division.
You know what I mean?
Quickly, just for argument's sake, so we can laugh at BoxRec's ratings. Check the middleweight rankings, please, and tell me if Jeff Horn is still ranked in the middleweight top 10.
I'm going there
please,
right now.
Just for argument's sake, please. Fat apples with the jokes today saying John Ryder sparks Plant.
Okay. Here we go. Middleweight.
Go.
Canelo, Triple G, Danny Jacobs, Jamal Charlo. Number 5. Jamal, sorry. Number 5, Jeff Horn.
Oh my God. We're done.
6, Demetrius Andrade. 7, Derevchenko. 8, David Lemieux. 9, Rob Brandt. And number 10, Seletsky.
I'll be honest. The rest of it, I'm not too upset with, but Jeff Horn.
Yeah, still in there.
Still in there, man. Still in there. Shout out to BoxRec's rankings. But digressing from that, Chris Eubank, he's one of those guys where I think he'd be a fun B-side. Like, I think that's sort of his ceiling at the top. Like, he will always lose to the top 5, but he'll beat, top 10, the bottom half of the top 10 guys. He's going to beat top 15 guys. And the top 20, he's going to make them look like they are novice. Because he's such a supreme athlete, and he has really good power, great cardio, throws in combination. Like, he does have some good qualities about him from just a natural fighter aspect. But the technical side of his game is so flawed that anyone at the top should be able to pick him apart, should be able to outpoint him. Because it's a prime James DeGale beats Chris Eubank, right? If we don't have a 2019 James DeGale that shot arguably a little bit punchy, I think James DeGale would have outboxed Chris Eubank in this fight and won an easy decision.
A prime DeGale, Eubank would have looked like an amateur. Like a prime DeGale. Eubank is not, let me put it this way. When your father moves better than you to Kumbaya, my lord, than you do in the ring, you got problems, bro.
That is true. That is true. Shout out to Food's obsession with Chris Eubank Sr. Let's go to the co-main event on this card. A fight that I know we're all very, very excited to talk about. Gentlemen, don't give me that look. Rob, be happy. You guy won. Joe Joyce knocking out Bermain Stavern in the 6th round. I mean, what do we really have to say about this fight? Bermain Stavern came in grossly overweight, had zero game plan, only looked for counter overhand rights or left hooks, and would occasionally land them. I will give him that. And Joe Joyce was just throwing at volume with this little slow shots that were somehow extremely powerful. And just pitter-pat, and just beating the shit out of Bermain Stavern when none of us wanted that fucking fight. I will go on the record as I should have shots at me because I came out here and was in favor of this matchup when it was first announced, right, Rob? Remember? I was like, oh, I like this fight. Like, it makes sense. Like, you know, Joe Joyce can't get the big names. Like, Bermain Stavern, former champion, like, has fought some guys barometer. But, oh, God almighty, I had no idea we were going to get this Bermain Stavern. Sweet Jesus. And Joe Joyce, honestly, like, he didn't look that great either. Like, he beat up a guy that clearly was not interested in winning a fight at all. Congrats. And plus, I mean, he is so hittable. I'm going to sound like a hater all day on this show, I feel like.
No, I agree with you. Don't worry about, the UK coming for you.
Okay. I'm worried about them, man. They're very angry.
No, don't. Look, Joyce, early on, I thought, wow, he could be, but I don't know. It's like he's joined up with Abel Sanchez, and it's like he's become labored and I thought he was there was a little bit more about him, but maybe that was just the level of opponent for his like debut and stuff like that. But someone said it in the chat, it's like he's punching through treacle, he's like, everything seems slow motion, but they must be thudding, bone crunching sort of shots. They're heavy shots, but
can't deny the power.
Burn, I mean, come on, he was ranked number 14 in the WBA going into this. And shout out to Joyce, I mean, and the new WBA gold champion.
Is that they have a new one?
That's yeah.
Wasn't the interim champion? He's the gold champion.
WBA gold champion, and that was an eliminator for the regular title, the WBA regular.
I will say this on record. So Mendoza, if you're listening right now, I hate you. I want that to be perfectly clear. That you are not a friend to boxing or anyone on this channel. Fuck off. Back to you, Rob.
Unless you want a sponsorship link.
Nope. Because we're not gonna be like name redacted. We're
not taking your money. No.
We don't take sanctioning bodies' money. We don't do that like other channels.
I imagine we do a fight chat for all their bouts.
Here's the thing for me, okay?
If they pay us a lot, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I'm down.
I mean, let's be honest. But digressing. Foo. Be serious here.
Oh God. Just have at me, UK guys. Just have at me.
Ooh, have at him.
I
hear that, Chris Eubank Sr.?
Really hope Joe Joyce is never a major player in the heavyweight division. He's very much a boring watch.
You go on that ledge. You go on that ledge.
Like he just is. Like
get him, boys.
Like go at him. That was far.
It's just, I said this before, right? It's like the movies where there's like the super comedic, like the guy throws a punch and then like 10 scenes later the punch lands. That is Joe Joyce. Like it's not fun to watch. I'm sorry. Like I'm not a big fan of the heavyweight division anyway. Like I'm much more into lighter weights and better movement and better boxing. But there are heavyweights that are much more enjoyable to watch than Joe Joyce. It is not fun.
He will be in fun matchups, though. I can't imagine a big baby matchup with Joe Joyce is not an entertaining slugfest where they both throw 1,000 punches in the heavyweight division for 12 rounds. Like I want to see that.
Kwanaki.
I mean,
Charles Martin.
Actually, a Charles Martin fight for Joe Joyce right now would be interesting. I mean, I think Charles Martin has gotten a little bit better. Like he's a little more boxing centric at this point in his career. I think he gave Adam Wanaki a great fight. I think Joe Joyce, I don't think he will be a major player. I'm going to define that as like a champion. Like I don't think he's going to be a champion at any point in his career. I don't think he's going to beat the top 3, but he's in good fights. Like I think he could beat some of these top 10 guys. Absolutely. And plus, I mean, when you throw that many punches in the heavyweight division, even if they're slow punches, you are going to be in fun fights eventually. He just happened to fight Bermain Stavern, who had no interest in actually either being there winning a fight, being healthy. Like I'll be honest. I think if we get Joe Joyce, Dylan White, Chisora, Takam, any of these other fights, we see a good Joe Joyce fight, in my opinion.
Very quick. For people who said he looks slow, there's nothing on his shots, just a little word from Dave Allen on this. I once sparred Joe Joyce for 6 rounds. He hit me so hard and so often. I got ready, left the gym, and walked around for 20 minutes as I had forgot where the train station was. and what a day it was due to the spar. And then I came around, went to KFC as I had missed my train. True story.
What a sad ending to that story, ending up at KFC. There's no Popeyes there.
No,
Dave Allen's the GOAT. 100%. Let's go White Rhino. But Joyce is shit, man. I can't get down with Joyce. I'm sorry, bro.
Man. Foo's finally going to get hate mail. I can't wait. Foo, let him know where to find you on social media right now.
Yeah, wonder if he leaves the underscore in this time.
Yeah, you better change it right now. After
I'm going to change my name.
Yeah, I would.
No, surprisingly, most of the UK guys agree. That's the thing. I think that there are people who are very realistic in terms of he's not a fun fighter to watch. Like he just plods forward, and
but this wasn't a fun matchup. Like I think that this is way more on Stavern than it is Joe Joyce. I would say. Am I wrong in that? Am I wrong in that assumption that saying that this fight was bad because of Stavern, not because of Joe Joyce?
Well, I don't know. Do you look good against a heavy bag? I don't know.
He threw a lot of punches, landed a bunch of punches. I mean, what else is he supposed to do? Like, is he just supposed to be faster? Like, if he was faster, would the criticism all of a sudden go away?
I don't know. Look, the thing is, Wilder eyeing this guy out completely took his soul within a round, right?
Yeah.
Now he's just gone 6 or whatever it was with Joe Joyce, and I don't know whether there's some kind of comparison there or people having seen Stavern and the fact he's gone 6 means Joyce must be shit. But look, he's going to, like you say, he's going to be some fun fights. I think he's not particularly bothered that he'll throw a shot and take 1 or 2 on his way in doing it. I think he's just he's a juggernaut. You know, he says that's his name. He's kind of like, I'm going to keep coming forward, doing my thing, and I don't particularly give 2 fucks what's coming back because I'm a tough guy. But the fact that he was after a Luis Ortiz, I think Abel Sanchez has been out recently saying, no, I pulled him away from that fight. He's not ready for.
Yeah, he has to. I mean, Joe Joyce would get killed by Luis Ortiz right now.
Yeah, he would be counted to fuck. You know, it's not a good matchup for him right now.
Luis Ortiz, who every UK fan wants to say is 55 years old and has blood pressure or like high blood pressure, he will out-athlete Joe Joyce 10 out of 10 times, man. It's not even a question.
Whoa. Take it easy on Joyce, okay? Come on now.
Hey, don't try to twist on Foo. Don't twist on us, Foo. You're the one that's going to get in trouble in the comment section later. Don't worry about it.
Foo has been smart. He's played smart because he's got his eye on the chat constantly. And he's seen a bunch of the UK going, yo, Joyce is shit. And he's like, look, I'm going to go out on a limb. You know, don't hate me on this one. Knowing he's got the full backing of the chat, he came out with his Joyce's shit, you know?
And plus, I'll be honest, the chat, they're the nice guys. The guys in the comment sections.
Yeah, they're a different breed.
They're a different breed. The people that watch the show later and then comment on it, they're 100% a different type of people than the people in the chat. People in the chat are nice and friendly. They may be a little bit too far at the bants sometimes, but they're overall very friendly to us.
Hey, BK said, fuck you, Chewy.
That was good, BK. I second that. But digressing, we don't need to talk about Joe Joyce and Brabant Severn putting on a very one-sided shit fight anymore. We don't need to talk about it. We can talk about a great fight, though, on this card. That, like Rob alluded to earlier, was not shown on Showtime, but is on YouTube on HD quality. So if anyone wants a link, email me, mixedcombatradio@gmail.com, and I can send you a link. Don't worry about it. But Lee Selby barely defeating Omar Douglas. I don't think it's controversial, like maybe another fight we're going to talk about later, but he barely beat him. Like that 115-114 scorecard, I think it's probably the right scorecard. Like he won by a point or 2. But it was a fun fight. Omar Douglas was on him like white on rice, never letting up. Unfortunately, some to maybe a Eubank situation. He wasn't setting up his hooks enough. On top of that, the range was obviously not in his advantage. So Lee Selby was able to get out of range and use his jab, use his footwork for most of the rounds. Rob, really? I'm not going to repeat that, but don't say those jokes in the chat when I'm going on my monologue here, man. I'm going to laugh. That's why you're not allowed to have the A mic, Rob. That's why. Digressing, though. Thank God everyone listening has no idea what we're talking about right now. God, Rob. Lee Selby, Omar Douglas, great fight. Lee Selby, though, jumping up 2 weight divisions, I didn't like that. It obviously, I think, showed in this fight that he doesn't have the power to keep these guys off him because this is just Omar Douglas. No discredit to Omar Douglas, but Omar Douglas is maybe top 15 right in the division. Actually, he might be top 10, honestly, but he is definitely a guy that if you aren't beating a little more clearer, you're not going to beat the Richard Comeys, you're not going to beat the Lomas, the Tifimo Lopez's, you're not going to beat any of those guys, in my opinion. So I would like Lee Selby to drop down to 130, fight in that weight class, maybe go after, gosh, who could he fight? Maybe a Gervonta Davis fight. I would be down with that. Both PBC guys. And even though it's technically speaking, Lee Selby is a guy that came from 126, he's obviously a big guy for the division, seeing that he moved up to 135 for this fight. So I don't think it's a fight that will get any criticism, or should it, honestly. So sign me up for Gervonta Davis, Lee Selby at 130 pounds next. That's what I would take. But gentlemen, Rob, you first. Your thoughts on your countryman looking decent, having a really fun fight overall. I really want to stress this. If you have not seen this fight because it was not shown on U.S. television, go and find this fight. It is a fun fight, probably the best fight of the weekend. I feel like that's probably not even for debate. This was the best fight of the weekend. Go watch it. It was fun. And shout out to Omar Douglas. He always gets underrated in that division. Rob, your thoughts on Selby versus Douglas?
First of all, Selby's Welsh. I'm not Welsh.
UK.
All right.
Are you not? Wait, are you not in the same country?
What if he's in Wales and I'm in England?
Well, you're in the UK. That's the same country.
Yeah.
See, fix your fucking system, and it's not so confusing. Sorry.
All right.
Go on.
It's just helpful when it needs to be. Look, fun fight, real fun fight. It was. I honestly, for a while, was smelling upset. I thought, at some point he's gonna really stick one on Selby. But to his credit, coming through, a cut. I think it's a same cut that he got against Warrington. Over the same eye, nasty cut. I don't know if you remember that, but there was blood all over the ring, and the referee was, basically had a different shirt on by the end of the fight. He came through it. He got about his boxing, and he started getting a few rounds under his belt and giving himself some kind of a cushion. And then I thought Douglas sort of came on, nicking rounds as well, and it was a real tight. And I think the result was right. Like you say, 1 or 2 points in it. I'm happy with that. That's fine. But I think Selby was, I want to say, clear winner. It's like he won the fight clearly, but it was a very tight fight, if that makes sense. It was. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think he was like a clear winner, but in a real.
I was reading the chat. I wasn't. If I made a facial expression, it wasn't what you were saying. I'm obviously getting some flack about the whole Wales and England is in the same country because they are now. Look at sorry, Scotland. They just try to do this. You guys are a part of the UK. Accept it. Get along with each other.
Well, it's weird. Like you say, the whole system's weird because there is separate countries that make up
a single government body.
Let's get into this. Rob, do you have a textbook somewhere? Is this broken down over there?
Do you have a textbook somewhere?
Nah, I just know this shit, I know it. This is like primary school stuff. No, but yeah, it was a clear victory for me for Selby, but in a real close fight. and the right guy got it. But yeah, fun fight. Yeah, but Selby, I don't think 135 is the place for Selby. I know he's a taller guy. Interestingly, apparently, according to the stats, Douglas actually had the longer reach, even though he looked like a foot shorter. But yeah, I don't think 135 is the right place for Lee Selby right now. As much as it might have been difficult making 126, 130, then I don't think 135 is the right place. But yeah, we'll see what happens going forward, where this positions him. Obviously, sort of part of the PBC thing. So yeah, we'll see where this goes. But real fun fight, and yeah, it was good to catch this one. It's just a shame you guys didn't get the coverage of it.
Yeah, but like I said, you can go find an HD quality version on YouTube. Go do it. Fu, your thoughts on Omar Douglas making Lee Selby look not so great in this fight, and honestly, just it being a fun fight.
This is definitely the best fight of the weekend for me. Early on, Omar Douglas was really putting together some great combinations. Selby got cut in the second round. I don't know if it was a headbutt or a punch, but definitely got cut early. Seemed like it didn't really bother him early on, at least. But Selby's always in really fun fights. The Warrington fight was really good. He's always seems to like scrape by and just get the decision. But, obviously not with Warrington, but typically, like he's just a guy who's in pretty tough fights where you could really see it going either way. He typically ends up getting the decision there. But I'm with Rob. I don't understand jumping a weight division, going from 126 to 135. I would like some clarity on that. Has his team spoken about that or anything? Is he just not capable of making 130? Like, is he really that far off of the weights?
Rob, that's probably more of a question to you because I don't know the answer to that.
No, I don't know everything.
Well, you should. I mean, this is why we have you, to know everything about UK boxing, including PBC content, Rob. I know not just Eddie. You have to include PBC UK.
Hang on. Hold on. I got some breaking news here. Let me read this. England, Wales, and Scotland make up Great Britain. Add Northern Ireland, and you have the United Kingdom. Thanks, standing 8 count.
I understand.
Now I understand.
No, we know that. That was
I'm just clarifying this.
The one thing
you, Matt, you Canadian?
No. because the U.S. and Canada share a government system. Yeah. Such a good comparison. But one thing, actually, in terms of terminology, I'm curious about, is British synonymous with English, or is British including Wales and Scotland because that is in Britain? You know what I'm saying? Like, is Britain just the island? That's the one terminology I'm confused about.
It's basically the collective. So
okay.
You've got
basically when you say British, just to clarify a question, when I say British, that automatically excludes Irish and Northern Ireland, right?
Northern Ireland is part of Great Britain.
But when you call, like, you are a British person,
yeah.
If you're from Northern Ireland, do you include yourself in the British people category?
They
Okay.
They would, Team GB or whatever is, where you could be Scottish, represent Team GB. You could be Welsh. You can be.
No, I understand that, but I thought Britain was exclusive to the big island, so to speak, and Ireland was separate. That's how I thought it was, the distinguishing mark. But again, just a question.
Many people here at the moment are saying they're not British, they're English, or that I'm not British, I'm Scottish, or I'm not British, I'm.
Yeah, I know. Those people are stupid.
This is like when you get on YouTube for too long and you just start clicking like the next videos, and it just like goes down this fucking weird rabbit hole. Yeah. That's what's happened here.
I think that's how I got to Steve-O snorting that weird shit.
That is a deep cut to Patreon, patreon.com/MixedCameraRadio. So go check out whatever Rob is referring to. I'm forgetting what episode that was. I think that was last week's Boxing Banter.
No, I don't. Maybe.
I think it was last week's Boxing Banter. Go check that out. But let's get to the other fight cards of the weekend. Let's get to the PBC card on FS1. Anthony Dirrell versus Yildirim. Turned out to be a really fun fight and a competitive fight that I don't think anyone expected. I will say this. I have not scored it. So I know there's people out there that think Yildirim was robbed. I have not scored it, so I don't have an opinion on that. I think it was a close fight. It was a competitive fight. It was a fun fight. Yildirim, whenever he was landing to the body and inside in close, he was effective. And whenever Dirrell was in the mid-range or on the outside, he was outboxing Yildirim, and I think he was piecing him up with combinations, with the jab. He was setting up traps. It was a really fun fight, and a fight that I didn't expect to be fun. So that was nice. It was one of those fights that I kind of kept forgetting about this weekend, I'll be honest. You know, Ben Clark in the chat saying, next topic, the Commonwealth, please. That's funny. Not going to do that. Because, like, Virginia is a Commonwealth. I don't even know what that fucking means. But digressing, I thought this was a fun fight. It made, obviously, for the vacant WBC champion because David Benavidez decided to snort a bunch of cocaine and have fun. And I guess that now means he can't be champion when, who cares? But, Rob, have you seen this fight? I was curious if you guys even have coverage of it. I doubt you guys did. And I doubt you watched this fight. But did you watch it?
Can you just clarify which fight you're talking about? Because I was going in a chat rabbit hole.
Oh, you were reading the chat?
Dirrell, Yildirim, were you talking about that?
Yeah, Dirrell, Yildirim.
I believe bonus content for people that bought the pay-per-view.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's actually kind of nice.
Yeah, sort of thrown in there, you know? So, but I didn't watch it because it was stupid o'clock. And I was having way too much fun watching the DAZN card.
Now, I'm curious on how that was set up because obviously the James DeGale fight is over way before, I would assume, you guys pick up the telecast on Fox Sports 1 or the Dirrell Yildirim fight. So is it a single entire long sort of video in a sense and there's just a long break in between? Or is it two different ones that you just have access to? You get what I'm saying?
Like I said, I'm not sure because I didn't actually tune in for that one. But I think what they would have done was like the coverage would have stopped at Eubank DeGale. Someone will correct me if they actually did.
Yeah, someone in the chat I hope will add information to this.
And then you could have gone back at the right time on that same channel, which basically I don't know how it works there, but our like pay-per-view things, if say I've bought the Joshua fight, for instance, you could put it on the channel ready, and they'll be maybe looping Joshua highlights or and then it will say this event starts in 2 hours or something. So when it finishes, it kind of like
adding. Lunatic is saying it was the same channel and it was the same video feed, and it just picked up hours later. And like you said, in between video packaging and promos that was playing and. Yeah, loops and stuff.
Loop and shit. Yeah, so that's like I say, how I would have imagined, and obviously it turned out to be correct. But yeah, it's sort of that's how it's like a channel that if you've paid becomes like unencoded or whatever. You know, it's like you've unlocked it, so your payment has then made that channel live, kind of thing.
I'm just curious because obviously they're talking about the Amir Khan Terrence Crawford fight as pay-per-view, matching it with a UK card pay-per-view, and it being one. I'm curious just how that's going to work out because that's never happened in the U.S. that I know of, where we have two different fights in different places in the world on the same pay-per-view card. You know, I've just never seen that happen.
Yeah,
so I'm just curious.
That would be strange. I mean, although I think that's not an issue anymore because Dillian White's not fighting in April, and now Parker's pulled out of the Chisora fight.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that's right. Probably not an issue anymore. You are right. But Fugatti, your thoughts on Dirrell barely beating Yildirim Yildirim in a surprising close fight?
So I sped through the fight. I didn't watch like the entire rounds and stuff.
That's okay.
What I saw, the fight was extremely close. Obviously I watched like toward the like 8th, 9th, 10th round. I watched like entire rounds because I was trying to catch up for the show. Very sorry guys, but I worked till like midnight last night, like 8 a.m. in the morning.
Unacceptable. So. Unacceptable. How dare you have a life beyond this show?
But I'm not going to say robbery. I hate when people say that. I think that fight could have went either way from what I saw. I don't see either one of these guys as major players in like Callum Smith beats any one of these guys. Honestly, a Canelo at 168 beats probably either one of these guys.
Gilberto Ramirez.
Anyone. Yeah, Gilberto Ramirez, Benavidez. Like, I don't think either one of these guys are going to have the belt long. They'll probably give Dirrell maybe like a soft touch next, to get a defense and make some money. But
yeah, Eubank.
Yeah, possibly. And then Dirrell probably beat Eubank. But no, I mean, I don't know. The
he
UK
would.
guys hate me on this show
No, he would. No, Anthony Dirrell would beat Chris Eubank. Like, we don't need to sit here and really argue that, like, Anthony Dirrell is a far better boxer than Chris Eubank. It is obvious. Like, it should be obvious. Yeah, he doesn't have the one-punch power that Chris Eubank has. That's how Eubank was able to, I think, piece up Yildirim. And plus, his style, I think, played into beating Yildirim in that fashion more so. Like, styles make matchups. Styles make fights, right? That's the old adage of boxing. Dirrell Yildirim fight on the matchup of it now in hindsight was probably going to lead to a very close competitive fight. But I think Dirrell and Eubank as a matchup, I think that's a boxing clinic. Like, it may be fun at parts, but that's Dirrell's winning 8 rounds, 9 rounds.
So maybe they'll make a fight like that. Who knows? Especially with the new deal over in the UK for PBC. Maybe they do make a fight like that. Who knows?
Maybe.
But I don't think Dirrell will have the belt very many fights. I don't think any. I think he gets beat by a lot of people at 168 and nearly got beat by Yildirim. So
very quick. Steve Kim said he had just got off the telephone with Yildirim's trainer, Harold Shadow Knight. Obviously not happy with the verdict in the Dirrell fight. Really upset by the circumstances and says Ahmed owner will file for an immediate rematch.
Remind me. Sorry.
I was going to say, if Ahmed owner or honor or whatever is the guy I'm thinking it is, he's the one at the Eubank press conference that lost his shit and said, "I will fuck your wife in your bed."
Classic.
Do you remember?
Classic. I was going to ask you, like, what exactly did they say in that press conference? Because I forgot. But thank you for reminding me. It was that specifically. Obviously, another aspect of this fight was the sort of post-fight, not scuffle, because it wasn't a scuffle, but just controversy again. I mean, Yildirim was pushing his own coaches and team around, all upset. The same manager we're talking about that blew up, obviously, in the press conference was blowing up again in the ring. Dirrell was just doing backflips, laughing. Look, man, Yildirim, I think he's a fun fighter, but, man, he is a nutcase, isn't he? Like, I would not, of all the people I would think to just punch people post-fight in the ring or punch a ref, Yildirim is number 1 on that list, right? Right? Am I wrong in that? Like, if anyone that we think goes psycho in the ring, Yildirim is 100% that guy.
Yeah, look, there's crazy tendencies there, I think. I think we could imagine that. I say the manager / whatever he is versus punchy Uncle Dirrell that likes hitting.
Ooh, I'll be down for that. I've not seen the rest of this card. Sorry, I've not seen the rest of the card. I've not seen Jamal James. I've not seen Money Powell, the 6th or the 4th. Roman numerals always fuck me up. I haven't seen any of the fights yet on this card. I'll be honest, just because, again, busy life. But I did see the main event. I'm assuming none of us have seen the undercard as well. So let's
Was it Shadow Powell, Return of the Jedi, or Shadow Powell, A New Hope? Powell, which one is it? With Roman numerals.
Oh, it's IV. Was it? That's 6?
Oh, that's A New Hope. Yeah, that's 4.
Oh, that's 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
I only know up to 6 or 7 because of Star Wars movies.
That's New Hope. Love it. That's great. Let's move on to the card of the weekend. Brandon Rios versus Humberto Soto, featuring a giant green Shrek, a probably the best hairline in boxing. I'll be honest, I could care very little. I do care very little about this card. I really wanted to see the Sinessa Estrada fight because she's one of the best American female boxers right now, undefeated, and she wasn't shown on DAZN. So shots at you, DAZN. I am curious though because Sinessa Estrada is not a matchroom fighter. She's a Golden Boy fighter. If that played into it. And the other fight that was not shown was also a Golden Boy fight. Just curious if, promoters are like, hey, I'm not going to show your shit. I hope that's not the case, because that would not be good business if you're Eddie and Oscar when you're working in the same network for obvious reasons. And again, just makes a little sense as to why Sinessa Estrada was not shown at all. It's just weird to me. And again, the Brandon Rios fight, Soto fight, I know a lot of boxing media were thinking it's a fun slugfest. I was completely unentertained by it. There was zero stakes with the fight. Yeah, they're putting on like some good combinations. They're exchanging some shots. Yeah, cool. But the fight had no meaning to it. It had no substance to it. I've wanted to see Brandon Rios retire for years now. Same with Humberto Soto. Neither of these guys should honestly keep fighting. And I'll be honest. I would have been hyped if this card was just the Sinessa Estrada main event, and you kick out Brandon Rios, and that's not on this card. And you just have Sinessa Estrada with a bunch of Mexican prospects. I would have been hyped because just a little tiny regional card I can watch with a bunch of names I don't know, but all young guys. You have Estrada, who's a young, up-and-coming female prospect. I'm hyped for that. But no, you put a Brandon Rios Soto fight, which means nothing. That is just sort of sad to watch. I'll be honest. Again, this is me sounding like a complete hater and hypercritical, but I didn't need to see this fight. And the fight I did want to see, they didn't show. So this DAZN card was like a 4 out of 10 for me. This was bad on multiple levels. Rob, I know you have a very different opinion than me, so I will go to you, and I will try not to interrupt you so you can make your points. Rob?
I thought it was a fun card, seeing some, whatever level you think they are, but some Mexican guys teeing off on each other in a hook fest. But there was some little standout performances, I thought. The young kid, 17 years old, Pacheco, looks very composed and like a decent prospect at, on the card. And Velasquez, he looks like quite an exciting fighter. Looked very fast hands. I think he sort of looks the part. Again, I don't know the competition they were against too well, so it's hard to gauge, oh yeah, this guy's going to be a world champion or anything like that. But just eye test and how they looked and sort of, to me, how they came across, I thought it was quite a fun card, really. I honestly, at first, I didn't even realize this was on, and I finished watching the whole Eubank thing. I went downstairs after shutting everything up in the studio here, and just was flicking it through some channels, and it was like International Fight Night. What's this? And I was like, oh, it's the Rios fight card. I didn't realize we were picking this one up. Oh, cool. I watched it, and I'd seen like Eddie announce this Pacheco kid and things like that. And obviously on his Instagram, he was there and was saying, tune in tomorrow on DAZN. And we got Pacheco, and it showed a few of the kids there. I was like, oh, cool. All right. Well, I'll tune in and watch it. And there was some fun fights on there, some real slugfest, like guys hooking off on each other. There's just some fun fights. Nothing serious, like, oh, whoever wins this gets a shot at whoever. Like, not massively like invested, but with just some boxing on in the background and watching, and like, oh, this is a fun fight. This one's a fun fight, and that kid looks good. That kid looks good. I enjoyed it. I'm very not as harsh on it as you are, and not because it's a DAZN card and Eddie Hearn or anything like that. It was just some fun fights where some guys were trying to beat each other up. It was decent.
Fu, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think we knew what to expect from this card, right? That it was going to be a slugfest, not a lot of movement, not a lot of, defensive prowess in the ring. It's just, it's very much a Mexican come forward style fight. Let's see who quits first, and a lot of the Rios fight went the distance. Some of the earlier fights were better. I mean, like Rob said, I've heard very good things about the 17-year-old kid, Pacheco. I did not see that fight, so I'm going to go back and watch it. I did watch the Rios Soto fight all the way through, and, I wasn't impressed. I just don't think Rios looks good at this weight. He's 30. He's 32 years old, but he feels like a shot fighter. to me. Kind of, I don't know. It's shit to say, but I'm with you, Matt. I don't really like watching fights that don't lead anywhere. Like, they can be fun fights, but they should never be main events. Like a main event or a co-main event should be leading to something.
Even if it's a young prospect against a tune-up, that is a better main event than two old guy veterans that no one cares about anymore just because they're veterans. Like, you at least have a storyline of, oh, this prospect is going to beat this person, and is going to face that person, that's going to move on to this champion. There are storylines you could talk about in that. We're going to talk about the Rios Soto fight. Oh, which guy's going to get knocked out at the high level again? I don't want to see that. What's the conversation going to be about? Oh, which guy's going to retire after this matchup? Like, I don't want to see that. And again, it's a slugfest just for a slugfest sake isn't necessarily like appetizing boxing for me. And Rob, like you said, like the undercard was really good, like really entertaining stuff. Pacheco looked really good. Velasquez looked good. Like, you were absolutely right about that, Rob. I'm not disputing that. That's why I'm very clear with my point about if Rios was not on this card, if that main event was not on this card, I wouldn't have any of this criticism. It wouldn't have this sort of cloud above it of a Rios Soto fight that is just bad in so many different ways, that is not needed in so many different ways. If that was on the table and it was just, again, Eddie going out to Mexico to pick up a bunch of Mexican prospects that nobody knows about, and he puts on a regional fight card, like a next-gen Mexico card, that's sellable to me. I'm hyped for that. I can't get hyped for a Rios fight in today's age.
But it sold tickets, Matt. That's the only thing.
Of course it sold tickets.
Was packed out by the time the main event come along. So I don't know. I know whether you tune in to watch it is sort of down to you, I guess. But there was a whole place that was pretty happy.
Yeah, but are they going out for Brandon Rios? Is Tijuana going out for LA fighter Brandon Rios in 2019? Or were they going out because their cousin or their cousin's friend who lives in Tijuana is fighting on the undercard? Are they going out for Sinessa Estrada, who is, I think, from Arizona, a young, up-and-coming Mexican-American star in women's boxing? Like, was it Rios that was really drawing the crowd? I don't think so. I don't think so at all.
I don't know. It wasn't full for quite some time.
Yeah, but Sinessa was the last fight. The last fight of the night wasn't Rios. It was Sinessa Estrada. Locally, if you're there in the arena, that's not the main event. It was Estrada.
I'm just saying it was full for that fight. So,
of course it was. But that doesn't mean much. That doesn't mean anything to me.
Really saying
DeGale Eubank was filled in the 0-2. Does that mean it's going to do major pay-per-view numbers? Does that mean it had a huge impact in the UK market?
No, like I say, I wasn't particularly saying. I'm just saying it may not have meant much to you, but there was people there having a great time, and it was full. That's all.
And great, go have a good time. I don't want to see Brandon Rios on my fucking TV or what I'm paying for ever again, ever. Eddie Hearn, if you're listening, don't show Brandon Rios fights anymore. Stop. You want to endear yourself to the U.S. market? Stop showing Brandon Rios fights, for God's sake. Seriously, like, have some sort of like pulse on the market. You know, Estrada should have been the main event, and that should have been your selling point. Not fucking Brandon Rios in 2019. He was relevant a decade ago. Come on. Foo.
I just main events, co-main events, they should be about something. Like, I get it. The company has to make money. Rios is a name that people know. All of that. I get it. But for me, I want fights to have meaning. I don't like DeGale Eubank fights. Like, I think overall my thoughts on boxing this weekend were a bunch of fights that really didn't mean anything. You know, and it's really a struggle to watch, you know, that much of a sport and go. But honestly, too, we've had a lot of good weeks of boxing. So, like, this is some of what you talked about. Saturation in the market's going to bring this along.
We had 3 different events this weekend on 3 different networks. Was any of the events good from top to bottom? No. Were there highlights here and there, like Pacheco on the DAZN card, Lee Selby, Omar Douglas on the PBC ITV card? Obviously, I thought the Dirrell Yildirim fight turned out to be really fun. I've yet to see the undercards. I don't know what were some gems in there, but no, come on. This is, like you said, Fu, and like what I've been saying, this is oversaturation at its finest. We have 3 different events with how many different fights? Like, combined, we had, 30-something fights we watched this weekend? Not including the UFC card as well on ESPN Plus. That was shit as well. Come on, man. You have 60% of the events, and we're going to have better fights, better cards, better main events. That's what happens, man. Shout out to oversaturation. Fu, Rob?
I just want to shout out Big Nick for taking his shot at sliding into Sinesio's fucking DMs.
Shoot your shot,
Way to go, bro. Way to go.
Shoot your shot, man. I will never hate on that. Rob, any thoughts on any of this? Because this is really like our last topic. Like we're gonna leave it here. We're gonna go to callers. We're gonna go to callers after this. So call in 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue. If you're international, add Mixed Combat Radio on Skype. Rob?
I just wanted to say it looks like things have been sorted out as far as Regis Prograis in the World Boxing Super Series.
Right.
It looks like
I forgot to put that up. Yes, it has been confirmed by Regis Prograis and World Boxing Super Series that Prograis, Raylick, and Nonito Donaire and Zalan Tete doubleheader. I forget where exactly, but that is confirmed. I think in April. Am I wrong on the?
April 27th.
Yeah, it's late April, and it's somewhere in the U.S. I know that. I just don't remember where in the U.S. But yeah, I hopefully, like I've been saying, man, like if they can figure out a way to get these last tournaments done with, I'll be happy because especially the bantamweight tournament, we need that one.
I don't think it has a venue yet, but it's confirmed.
Okay. I'm going to sit here still crossing my fingers.
Yeah, but I think there was another report with a little more detail as far as Prograis has reached some kind of deal that it's been resolved. So it looks like we're getting these fights. I don't know if there's any definite guarantee on Baranchik just yet, but it looks like things are moving forward. So fingers crossed we get to the end of this and they can shelve it for a year maybe while they iron out the problems.
Agreed. Fu, any thoughts on World Boxing Super Series? Prograis? Any of that announcements or slight confirmations?
I was pulling this up for you. I think it was Benson that tweeted it. Yeah, April 27th, venue to be declared. Yeah, I'm excited. We were really kind of all not stoked that this might fall apart.
We all accepted it was falling apart too. We all kind of accepted it was dead in the water.
Yeah, I thought this was done for sure, but now that we will get that probably Prograis Taylor fight, I think that everyone's really looking forward to. I think both of those guys are going to get through their next fight. And then, I guess we'll probably break this down later, but I don't really know who to pick between Donaire and Tete, but I'm guessing Tete.
What?
But Donaire looked so good last fight. But yeah, we probably don't want to get into it the whole way, but
yeah, we're going to review it obviously when fight week comes about, but let's get to callers again. 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue. If you're international, add Mixed Combat Radio on Skype. Let's go out to the 323, aka Santiago in LA. Santiago, how you doing?
Doing good, dude. Just listening to the show, enjoying a chill day, and hoping to get getting something sorted out by Tuesday. It's nice to see that the deal isn't so long and that there's even something in place for, like, if the deal is successful, let's go ahead and add an extension. That's good. Hopefully we do get the trilogy and everything and see how this all plans out, We'll see how all of this plans out. And for the reviews on today's fight, I already gave my take when I was doing the live fight chat as you guys' unofficial scorer. DeGale needs to pack it up. Eubank, I don't think, is going to really contend much, when it comes to the elite because, like, his technique and his form isn't that great. I mean, sure, he'll put on some fun fights for us, but I don't really see him being able to really get up there. He's he reminds me of Cornelius Bundrage with the way he fights and the way he like just goes for the heavy shots. And I saw the PBC card. It was nice to see Brian Perella back in action. Not really a lot to say. Personally, I honestly thought that Avni Yildirim was going to edge out Dirrell, because Dirrell, I feel, is already at the tailgate of his career as well. You saw how close the two scorecards that gave it to him was. 96-94. One judge had a 98-92 for Yildirim. I could see the upset, the frustration, and then how upset he was, because he thought he scored the TKO victory and everything. Initially having ruled the cut because of a punch, and then changed the ruling to a headbutt. Crazy shit. Reminds me of like when Dirrell's uncle punched Uzcategui, after the DQ win for Andre. So some crazy shit there, to say the least, when it comes to the Dirrells, and I guess now Yildirim. And as for the DAZN card, didn't really care much about it. It was probably the most low-key card of the entire weekend. I really only cared about Siniesa, Senior Fight Life, a couple times in the past. Sola Morbina, I've actually talked to her on Instagram in the past. Super chill woman, really friendly, always a fun conversation with her.
Santiago sliding in the DMs.
It's sad.
Very quickly, Santiago. Santiago's girlfriend, if you're listening, it was just a joke. Just a joke. Back to you, Santi.
Thank you for that clarification. Anyways, it's a shame to see where Rios is at 32, because really for me, I thought, Humberto Soto, okay, this is going to be a nice fight. Rios should win this. He's got 6 years on him, but even just watching the highlights, right? Forget the fight. Just watching the highlights, and you could see that Soto looked like the fresher fighter with those combinations, those uppercuts. It is depressing to see where he's come. Like when he first moved up to 140, had that fight with Mike Alvarado. Sky was the limit for him, and it's a shame. These guys really do need to pack it up. I mean, Soto, I thought was already packed up at this point. Somehow they pulled him out. And if, this is how he goes out, then congratulations. You went on a very impressive win for yourself. And as for Rios, love you, dude. You were a very fun guy to watch. But honestly, I just can't get up for your fights the same way I did back when you were first coming up, Please do us a favor, call it a career. Fernando Vargas did, and he was an action fighter too. So, no shame on that too. Kelly Pavlik called it a career at 32. Andre Fonfara just called it a career, and I think he's only 32. So, hang it up, enjoy your life with your family while you still got your faculties intact with you, and we'll have the memories of all the good fights you gave us back in your day. Don't really have much else to say. I left a side question for you guys earlier in the chat. I don't know if you saw it, but for anybody in the chat that's listening and curious, my question was, what was a fight or fighter that you guys wanted to show your friends because you thought it was going to be a good fight to watch or a good fighter to watch, but because it was on the undercard of a shit main event, your friends initially were like, nah, I don't want to see that fight, man. Who wants to see that shit? For me, it was showing my buddy Tomoki Kameda, because I've been a fan of Tomoki Kameda since he first was on Showtime. I saw his fight with McDonald. I wanted to watch the rematch, and I told my buddy, come on, dude, you got to watch this. It was on the undercard of Dirrell Rubio, but he had no interest in it, and he hasn't regretted it ever since. He's been a big fan of Kameda ever since. That's my call. Any question you guys have, feel free to shoot. Keep up the good work. Everyone that's listening and watching the show, hit that like button, share, subscribe. Keep showing these guys how much we appreciate the work they put in for us.
Thank you, Santiago, for the call. As always, my quick answer off the top of my head, because I haven't thought about this. I didn't see the question. Conor McGregor on the come up before he was anyone. He was on the undercard of a Demetrius Johnson, Chris Carriaso pay-per-view. Conor McGregor was not the headliner and did only like 200,000 buys. But he fought Dustin Poirier way back in the day. Fugatti. If you have not seen that fight, go watch that. But yeah, I remember telling everyone, you have to watch this fight. This crazy Irish guy with knockout powers fighting on the card. You got to watch it. and Demetrius Johnson was in the main event, and nobody knew who that guy was. Nobody. None of my friends knew who Demetrius Johnson was. Very sad. But obviously, I mean, look at who Conor McGregor turned out to be. Let's be honest. He went from unknown, rags to riches to biggest star ever. Rob, Fu, any fights that come to mind for that answer?
I'm trying to think, like, where they were on the undercard of what fight.
That's the hard part. Trying to remember, like, who was on the card, and then who was the main event on which card. That's so hard to remember.
I'll have a think. And we'll hit back Santiago next time he calls in and try and think of it. But yeah, no, that's something to have a little think about. Yeah, I can't on the spot like that.
I can't come off the top with that, but I mean, I guess it would be what Loma was on an undercard for Manny Pacquiao or something, right? Wasn't?
Yeah, I think it was on an undercard Pacquiao Rios or something.
Yeah, I mean that's probably one, just off the top of my head. I can't really just come up with that off the top of my head. I'm not a historian like Santi is. Man, guy knows everything.
Yeah, I know, man. The human box trick is his name for a reason. Let's go to Gary in Dallas, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Gary, how you doing? Long time no call.
Yes.
I'm doing good. How's everyone over there?
Doing good, man.
I can't believe at any point Brandon Rios and James DeGale were both world-class elite world champions. That seems almost impossible to believe.
You got a bad memory.
I mean, I thought both those guys would probably get the win and not look very good doing it, and both guys looked way worse than I could have even imagined. It doesn't even seem like it was that long ago. How long ago did DeGale fight Badu Jack to the draw? And how long ago was it when he beat Andre Dirrell?
I think Dirrell was 2015. I think Badu Jack was 16 or 17. So we're now talking about 3, 2, 4 years ago now.
Yeah, I guess it's been that long. I guess it's just he looked awful. I mean, he should not have had problems with Eubank. And I thought the judges had that fight too close. I thought he maybe won 3 rounds and got knocked down twice. So I thought the judges were actually pretty generous to him. And the Brandon Rios fight, like, it's entertaining to a point, but it's like I said in the chat in the Patreon group, it's like watching MAC football on a Thursday night when Toledo plays Central Michigan, and it's 77-71 in the third quarter. It's like, okay, I get it. If you like touchdowns, it's good, but this isn't very good football. It's just not good football. You know what I'm saying? And that fight, that Rios fight, yeah, there were a lot of punches, lots of power shots, but that's not world-class boxing.
I agree. I think we're all in agreement with that.
And then you also gave shade to the Texas prospect on the DAZN card. I've been listening. You hadn't mentioned his name once, Hector Tanahara, who fought on the undercard on the DAZN card.
I'll be honest.
You hadn't even mentioned his name.
I'll be honest. I remember the name. Don't remember what the guy looks like or the fight.
Gary, was that the one that was stopped through a head clutch?
Yeah, it was stopped after the 4th round.
Oh, it was that fight.
The headbutt.
Yeah. No. Just didn't know these guys' names too much.
Card. Heck, Tanahara. I watched the fight for that card for that fight, and then it got ended because of the headbutt. It's like, that's disappointing. But I wanted to touch on you watched the DAZN card live and not the PBC card.
Yeah, it was on earlier. I think the BBC one was sort of a little after, right? Or
sorry, what was the question?
You watched which card did you watch live last night? The
DAZN
or PBC?
DAZN.
So when you're saying you're getting mad at Eddie, why are you giving us Brandon Rios? Why are you giving us Brandon Rios? Well, because you watched it, man. I'm not trying to insult you or anything. It's like because you watched it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, then you can't complain about him giving us Brandon Rios if you watched it.
Gary, you do realize I get paid monthly to talk about boxing, right? Like, so I understand. No, Gary, I hope you understand that I stopped watching this card. That's how much I was turned off by it. Like, I was maybe 4 rounds into the main event, and I stopped watching it. And I came back and finished it this morning. Okay, Gary? Yes, I watched it, but that is not a barometer of, like, oh, Brandon Rios is star power. Like, this is my fucking job, man. Like, I get paid to talk about this stuff, so I have to watch it. I watch every fight. There was 30-plus boxing fights yesterday, and another 15 MMA fights yesterday, not including other MMA promotions outside the UFC. I watched them all. Like,
it's also, like, not like we're just... I want everyone to understand, it's not me shitting on the sport.
It's
because
shitting on
I'm
this
going to
fight.
watch all the fights. But as fans, we do have to advocate for, like, the right kind of
quality.
fights, the better fights.
We have to have quality.
Rios Sotos can be on an undercard. That's fine. It's a fun fight on an undercard leading up to a good main event that's going somewhere. Like, if they would have done Rios Soto and then showed Sinesia defend her belt or whatever, we're cool with that, right? Like, I mean, I'm good with that. It's like, as long as it's something important and building up to something. I just don't like I really don't like fights that go nowhere. This fight goes nowhere. Neither one of those guys are doing anything at their weight class.
And I'll be honest, Gary, I'll be double honest. I like really forgot about the PBC card last night. And until like it was already starting and I was already watching the DAZN card, I was like, oh fuck it. I'll just watch the DAZN card till I'm sick of it. Because I completely forgot about Dirrell Yildirim for a legit, air quote, legit world belt. I saw zero promotion work for that. I totally forgot about it happening this weekend.
I thought that and the Gale fight were on the same card. That's why I was confused when you guys did the live fight chat. I thought it was all like, I couldn't believe it. Dirrell versus some Turkish guy I've never heard of was the main event. So I just thought that was the undercard bout for DeGale and Eubank. But then, like, I found out during your live chat that fight was going on. Fortunately, my DVR picked it up and I recorded it. But yeah, I can't believe that was the main event. Have you ever heard of that Turkish guy before? I'd never.
Yeah,
heard
he fought Chris Eubank for the IBO belt in the World Boxing Super Series.
Oh, okay.
Remember that guy that got knocked out brutally and it was like on?
Yeah.
Yep, that guy. Yep.
I didn't realize it was okay. Everybody thought Eubank was good for until he fought
George Groves.
Fight next? George Groves? Yeah.
George Groves, yes.
Everyone thought Eubank was good for 3 months. Yeah.
It was fun. It was a good time.
And as far as Anthony Dirrell, should he donate his belt to his brother since he's going to lose it the next time he fights anyway? Just give it to him. Just because, so Andre Dirrell can be a world champion. Just give him the belt. This is Andre.
Oh man, poor Andre Dirrell. Hey, I'll say this: Anthony Dirrell is a fun B-side to like a David Benavidez. Like, I'll take that fight. I'm not gonna be mad about it.
He loses to any of the world champions.
Of course.
The other. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just give Andre the belt. Donate it to Andre. Let Andre be world champion.
What else, Gary?
What else? There was something else I wanted to. What else? Oh, Jamal James. You didn't watch Jamal James?
I didn't see the Jamal James fight. I saw I think either the finish or like the highlight of some of the fight on social media. I have not seen the fight yet. I do apologize. I need to see that.
So now when I say Jamal James can beat Danny Garcia, Jamal James looks spectacular. He looked excellent. Did he not, Rob?
Rob didn't see it.
I don't fucking know.
Oh.
You think Rob watched that one? Come on.
Jamal
One
James,
PBC card was enough for me.
You're
going to have to wait till Jamal James goes to be promoted by Eddie Hearn.
Yeah, to get Rob's thoughts on it.
I mean, Jamal James did go ahead and fight his Uber driver, but he looked excellent in doing it.
Yeah.
Like, James is finally using his size and his reach. You know, like he never really used. What is he? 6'3"? He's like Paul Williams size.
He's a big guy.
Yeah, he never really used it. He's finally using it last night. Now again, he fought nobody. But if he fights like that, he's going to be tough because he's just so big and long.
I largely agree. Jamal James is definitely an interesting prospect still in the division.
The problem is he's 30, right? I mean, so he's also running short.
Damn, he is 30. Fuck.
Yeah. Just like yesterday, like, oh, wow. So you said that Rios and Soto had it goes nowhere, which I kind of agree with. But how about this? How about Virgil Ortiz fights the winner? We wanted to see Ortiz step up against a veteran. What about
That's
Soto
good.
now?
That's good. That would be fine.
I'd rather see him against a veterinarian.
Am I upset with that fight? No. Am I going to be hyped for Virgil Ortiz knocking out Brandon Rios? No, not really. Like, that's not going to get my gears going. But it's a fine fight. It's all right. It shouldn't be main event.
It's the same as people have been saying, like getting Josh Kelly, Brandon Rios.
Yeah, like those are fine fights. It shouldn't be main event. An entire card should not be centered around Brandon Rios ever again.
By the way, don't be shocked to see Josh Kelly versus Samuel Vargas on the Joshua undercard.
If I was gonna say, if Virgil Ortiz could get rid of Soto, knock him out, then you would say, okay, his power is real, right? Because Soto's a tough guy to get rid of. I mean,
sure.
Has Soto ever been knocked out? Matisse, maybe. So I'm saying it's a gauge. Again, I'm not saying this should be the headline main event. I'm just saying that's a good guy that we can test Ortiz with now.
No, we're in agreement with that, Gary. I'm just very adamant. Brandon Rios or Soto should never be a main event of any card ever again, no matter who they are fighting.
Did Matisse knock Soto out or just knock him down? I can't remember if he actually, like...
I think he knocked him down.
I think he only knocked him down. I don't think Soto's ever been...
I don't remember. I'll be honest.
But
and then,
regardless.
Last thing I wanted to address with Matt. When we were doing the UK hour, and we were talking about my boy, Alessandro Rigonucci.
Yes.
What happened? You said, you looked at him, you said he's 22-0 with 18 knockouts, but that's not the guy. Because he looked like a fisherman.
Yo, he looks like Adam Sandler's cousin, fam. Like, I'm sorry.
So that means you can't fight?
I didn't say that, but come on, Gary. It's for the bands. I haven't seen the guy fight. I don't know who he is. He hasn't fought anyone of note. And he definitely has the face for radio. So, hey, I don't think he's the one, man. I don't think he's the one.
I didn't say he's the one, like he's going to beat Crawford or Spence or anything like that. I just said he's a pretty good fighter. Like, he could be a good fighter and not be the next world champion. He would lay Keith Thurman out cold, that's for sure.
Hey, man. Hey, wave the flag, man. No one's stopping you.
That's all I got.
Gary, thank you for the call. We're going to go out to Unrivaled Boxing Talk and News. Unrivaled Boxing Talk and News. How are you doing?
Yo, what's good?
What's up?
How's it going?
It's going good, man. How are you?
I'm really good. I enjoyed the shit fest of fights that were on last night.
I'm glad.
Personally speaking, the fight I was least looking forward to probably turned out to be the fight of the night across all cards, and that was actually probably Omar Douglas against Lee Selby. It was a very good fight. The most entertaining fight I've ever seen Lee Selby in.
Hey, the Warrington fight was fun.
So this was more fun because, like,
you're probably right about that.
There was just a lot of blood. There was a lot of blood. It was just a vicious fight. It was a good fight to see, and I thought it was a bit closer, but all in all, good fight. Worst fight of the night might have been Beware against the Juggernaut. That was the amazing silver medal prospect coming out of the UK, Joe Joyce, that people were saying could probably beat Lewis Ortiz. I don't see it. I don't see him beating anybody in the top 10. Couldn't see him beat Kovnatsky. Probably would lose to Adja Kaboyel. Like, that's being honest with you. These guys would pick holes in him all day. He's got no defense.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, we sort of said it. Apparently Abel Sanchez said he kind of pulled Joyce away from all this wanting Luis Ortiz. He's just going to get countered.
That's the best piece of coaching Abel Sanchez has ever done.
Yeah.
That's the best piece of coaching he's ever fucking done.
It's true.
Like, he normally makes people go head first into danger, and he's like, nah, you'll get killed. That's pretty much what happened there.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to see it. Joyce will be overachieving if he gets a world title fight. I think I can say that, honestly. He'll be overachieving to get a world title fight. European level at best.
Hey, Unrivaled, this is Jesse. Fugatti, whatever you want to call me.
Okay. What's good, man?
Whatever you want to call me. Ooh.
Hey,
do you see Joyce? I mean, you say to be overachieving if he got into a title fight, but do you see him being able to hang with any of the current title holders, or even being in like an interesting fight with one of them?
I'd say Joshua would cream him in 4 or 5. I'm not a Joshua fanboy or anything. I just think he would. He'd pick holes in him. He'd jab him to death, and he'd knock him out. He'd pick his shots. We've seen Wilder go life and death with some guys, like, sometimes. So you never know what Wilder. We've seen Wilder fight down, like against Eric Molina. He got shook up. Against Spielke, he got shook up. But I would expect Wilder to beat him. Same with Fury. Fury would just jab him and not get hit. That's the honest truth. Of the top 10 guys, the only guy I could see him actually having a good fight, maybe Dominic Breazeale and him would be a good fight because they're both slow as each other.
Okay.
And other than that, maybe Dillian White.
We're running
I'd say
out of
Parker
time.
would have too much speed.
I wanted to understand. Yeah. So that's what I was going to ask. Parker or Huey Fury or any of those guys. Do you see Joyce competing with those guys?
No. Unrivaled.
I didn't hear the question properly.
It's like Joseph Parker, Huey Fury, any of those guys. You see him competing with any of those
60 seconds.
If Huey Fury boxes the way he can box, he could jab him to death all night. Joseph Parker will probably knock him out.
Yeah.
Parker would knock him out.
Thanks, man. I always enjoy your take.
Two fast hands, and Joyce's punches won't trouble him.
I agree.
Good night, guys.
Good night, Unrivaled. Have a good one. We have one more caller to get to. 509. I'm trying to remember who this is. It's either Brandon. I think it's Brandon from what, North Carolina, South Carolina, our recent Patreon member. I think it's Brandon. If it's not Brandon, I do apologize. 509. Who is this really calling from?
92.
10 seconds.
Washington.
92, right?
Yeah.
92 Aku in the chat. What's up?
What up, guys?
How you doing, bud?
Yeah.
You're always killing it in the chat, my
Hey,
man.
you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. We hear you.
Hey, what's up, guys? Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to say I'm really stoked about the news with Mike.
Oh, 92. You're breaking up, man. 92.
Can you hear me now?
92. Hang up on you. Call back in, okay? We can wait around for you. Don't worry about it. Call back in. Oh, you can't. Fuck. Because it's Block Talk's over. Damn. Awkward.
Oh, man.
I should have just muted him and went back to him instead of hanging up. That was my bad, 92 Aku. I deeply, deeply apologize.
You stupid would be an insult to stupid people.
Hey, I mean, if the shoe fits, right?
Hey, real quick, Matt.
Yes.
Yogi, I saw you last time in the chat too. We're out of our blog talk time, but Matt and I are going to do a UFC show hopefully tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow.
I think late at night, right around probably like 8 p.m. Pacific or so, 7:30, 8 p.m. Pacific.
Yes, a very late show tomorrow for obviously UFC Prague review and obviously UFC 235 preview. And on top of that, talking about the Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier news, that was pretty shocking. So definitely there's a lot to discuss tomorrow for MMA and overall combat sports news. Yeah, Rob saying 92, Matt. Fucked up. Apologies, man. Yeah, I did. I deep apologies. Very sorry. Anyways, we will actually head out of here right now because I don't think anyone's calling in on Skype. And we've already done 3 hours of radio today. If you're like, wait, 3 hours? Where's the other hour? Patreon.com/MixHammerRadio. Go check out Boxing Banter. On top of that, go to Patreon right now and leave a topic and question in the topic question post for championship rounds tomorrow at sort of the regular time, like 12, 1, 2 p.m. Around that time, Pacific time, will be championship rounds on Patreon exclusively. But anyways, I'm Matt the Hipster Hunter. You can find me at Matt Hunter, MCR, all platforms. Hope everyone enjoyed the shit fights, as Unrivaled Boxing Talk said. You know, throw enough stuff on the wall, eventually something's going to hit. We had one thing that hit. The least Selby, Omar Douglas. Was it worth it? You can make that determination. But obviously, you know where to find me. Fugatti, let the people know where to find you and your final thoughts.
Yeah, Fugatti_MCR on Instagram and Twitter. Final thoughts, you know, hey, man, you know, we had a ton of boxing to watch. So even if it's not the greatest, you know, maybe cards or the fights aren't going places we want to see, at least it's a good amount of boxing to see. And people really enjoyed it. If you look at Twitter and stuff, that people were hyped for it. So the sport's growing. Got to be happy about that.
And did you say your social media, Fu?
I did. I think, yeah. I think I started with it.
Okay. Rob?
Yeah, UK Rob, MCR, Instagram and Twitter. Yeah, Triple G, another fighter making that big money by aligning himself to a network on a multi-fight deal. Will we get news this week of Wilder considering this ESPN thing? I think he's been out on record as saying he would no problem fighting on ESPN at all. So we'll wait and see on that one. I believe we're going to be waiting on something from the WBC to be announced maybe Tuesday. So let's see for that. Do we see some more fireworks at the London AJ presser? I'm sure we'll see something that's going to help sell the fight a little bit more. Keep an eye out, I think, on their social media channels for the DAZN promo that was recorded that got cut short due to it all kicking off. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. But yeah, thanks everybody in the chat. Fun little chat again as always. Great talking to you guys about the boxing, giving our opinions. You know, I know most of you agree with me more than the other two guys in the panel, but it's all good as expected. Nah, fucking around, it's all good. But yeah, subscribe, thumbs up, share, tell people we're here. I think we close to 1,300 or something like that. If I remember, just looking now, just a little subscriber update, 1,291. So, you know, chipping away to that 2,000 mark, and hopefully by then we'll be monetized. So yeah, thanks everybody again. Later.
And remember, 1 month, $1 a month, you get an extra 4 shows a week. And that's all we're asking for. 1 month, $1. That's it. You don't have to keep doing it after that. Just 1 month. Go to patreon.com/MixedCombatRadio. All proceeds does go towards Rob and Fugatti getting some freaking camera equipment so they can go do interviews and get off their lazy bums, dossers. But have a great weekend, or not great weekend, great day. But it is a weekend. Have a great rest of your weekend, rest of your Sunday. Be back tomorrow on Monday. What was that, Rob?
It's actually Monday now for me.
Oh, that is true. It's technically not the weekend anymore in the UK. Apologies. But have a great night, great morning, great evening, wherever you are listening on this show. Support. We love you. Peace.
Are you off your tits? Have you been smoking something?
Where is this Burger King? Everybody's on steroids. The whole UFC, everybody.
I'm gonna make you a star, motherfucker.
Who are ya? Who are ya? Who are ya?
Who the fuck is that guy?
Hey, pussy, are you still there?